Good day, everyone. I realised recently that I had not been to see a movie in the cinema for quite some time, certainly not since the pandemic, and had been restricting my viewing to streaming, downloads, or physical media. Of course, ultimately, given the right movie, there is no substitute for a good cinema screening, so no matter how good your home setup is, great as it is to sit at home and watch things on a great setup. So I thought it was time to get back to the movies, and the film I picked to go and see last weekend was one that I have been interested in for a while and had just been released, which is Brahmastra. More specifically, Brahmastra Part 1 Shiva. This is a 2 hour and 40-minute epic which writer and director Ayan Mukerji has taken 10 long years to get to the screen. And Ayan has an exciting vision, which is to create a new cinematic superhero universe, the AstraVerse, inspired by Hindu mythology. It is always great to see new IPs being created rather than rehashing existing ones, and this is a bold move, and one that I hope succeeds. And it's certainly good to see something fresh to go up against the Marvel and DC ecosystems, which are seemingly stuck in a rut and repeating the same formula with diminishing returns, in my opinion anyway. This movie is part one of a planned trilogy, with other spin-offs being talked about as well, and the movie is produced by Star Studios, which is owned by Disney, and it is one of the most expensive Indian movies ever made. So it does have a lot riding on its success. Now, before I continue, particularly diving into the plot, I will try to avoid too many spoilers, although there may be a few, so please be warned. So, looking at the plot, the movie begins with some exposition around the origin of the celestial weapons known as Astras, and the greatest of those, the Brahmastra, powerful enough to destroy the universe. So you don't want to just leave it lying around. A group of sages learn how to control these Astras and use them to tame the Brahmastra. And to safeguard the Brahmastra and the power of the Astras, they form a secret society known as the Brahmanash, which continues down through the ages. Following that exposition, we then fast forward to present-day Mumbai and meet a young DJ, Shiva, who grew up an orphan and has always had a fear of fire since his mother's death in a blaze when he was young. Shiva falls quickly in love with Isha, who is visiting from London, and Shiva and Isha are played by real-life husband and wife team Ranbir Kapoor and the lovely Alia Bhatt. While the romance blossoms, however, a group of shadowy villains are searching for the Astras and the location of the Brahmastra and are hunting down the current day members of the Brahmanash as they seek the Brahmastra for themselves. In a set of memorable action scenes, we see scientist Mohan Bhargav, the keeper of the Vanarastra, fighting for his life against the villains Roar and Rafter and their leader Janoon. Now, Bhargav is played by Shah Rukh Khan, and he is hands down my favourite character in the movie. He has just the right mixture of humour and grit, and so much charisma, which is why he's a big star, I guess. There is talk of a spin-off movie for his character, and this would be awesome. I'd certainly love to see that. He's a great actor. I also like very much Muni Roy as Junon, the villain, a lot as well. Her character serves an imprisoned, mysterious, superpowered figure called Dev, who we, as the movie moves on, we do find gradually more and more out about Dev. Now, Shiva is drawn to the Brahmanash by a series of increasingly powerful visions and gradually discovers his family links to the shadow war going on. and then gets directly involved. And a key figure in his development is the head of that shadowy organization, Guru Raghu, played by Indian cinema legend Amitabh Bachchan. Now, this is no meditating guru that he plays, though, and he is happy to wield the sword to protect the Brahmastra and the safety of the world. So this is the basic setup, and I don't want to spoil any of the details of the plot. So I'm going to leave the plot at that and talk a little bit about the movie as a whole. So there are many things I loved about the movie. The visuals and the cinematography are outstanding. There are some incredible visual effects, particularly around the use of the Astra powers in combat. The Himalayan backdrops of the final third of the movie are beautiful. On a side note, apparently some of the movie was shot in my home city of Edinburgh in Scotland, although I wasn't able to identify which scenes, so I'm looking forward to finding out which those were. There are some great songs, and in particular I love the opening dance, mass dance number, Dance Kabut. Now, the love theme, Kisanji, and Deva Deva, which accompanies Shiva's training montage, are beautifully sung by Arjit Singh. Not necessarily the style of music I normally listen to, being more of a rock guy, but the vocals are absolutely beautiful on those melodies. And of course, it's always great to see a montage. Every movie should have a montage. And the orchestral and rock scores are powerful. And I did notice a few nods to the Marvel's Avengers main theme at key dramatic moments, something reminiscent of those themes. Not that I'm knocking that, of course. And the sound effects are also extremely well mixed in the audio, so a lot of great technical work done. I found the sound of the movie very powerful and very impressive. What I really appreciated, though, was the depiction of the Astras and the powers bestowed and controlled by them on both the heroes and villains. Unlike Marvel characters, for instance, no one is overpowered. Most of the current Marvel superheroes, for instance, are extremely OP with multiple powers and almost impossible to kill or hurt. Now, in this movie, bullets, knives, and fists have a real impact. Even characters with powers can be hurt and killed, so there are real stakes at play, especially in the combat. So generally, apart from one or two specific examples, characters really only have one power or skill, and not dozens, and this is very refreshing. The humour in the movie is great and kept at the right level. It doesn't overwhelm the story. Not everything is treated as a joke, unlike many Western superhero movies recently. And perhaps my favourite aspect of the story and philosophy of the movie is the power of light and life over darkness. And again, Western superhero properties such as Marvel and DC have become incredibly dark and nihilistic. Everybody and everything is miserable, and humans are portrayed in a very misanthropic way. Brahmastra is the total opposite. Shiva, despite his humble background and unfortunate childhood, has tremendous optimism and a joy in life, and this philosophy pervades the movie. The story is the triumph of light and love. And this is beautiful. It's something I'd like to see more of. So the movie, though, does have a few flaws. I felt it was a bit long, and the opening third is a little slow. There are some plot difficulties and inconsistencies, and some of the dialogue, particularly Isha's, is a little weak. The exposition of the Astras and their history was also a little confusing, which may be expected, of course, when introducing an entirely new universe. I also found that some of the action scenes, such as the car chases, were a little too frantic, and it was kind of hard to keep track of what was going on, although many of the combat scenes, of course, are beautifully done and extremely thrilling. And it's important, I think, to stress that anyone expecting the more adult and darker themes of some Indian epics that I've watched recently, such as RRR and Bahubali, they will not find that darkness here. Brahmastra, I feel, is a lighter fantasy with a more general audience appeal across a range of ages and tastes. That's not a bad thing, of course, but it is a little bit different in tone from those movies. However, overall, the movie, I think, is a great first step in this new AstraVerse. And I look forward to seeing what they do with part two, Dev, where the big baddie is introduced. So bravo to the team for clearly crafting something over all these years that they've been very driven to do. And it's, as I say, it's a great first step. And I'm looking forward to see what they can achieve with the follow-up. So with that, thank you very much for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. Until next time, be well.